What's up, guys? So this is kind of a chill video. I'm working on something, and it's taking a little bit longer just because things have been kind of crazy recently, but crazy not in a bad way, just in general. Anyway, so I wanted to make kind of a chill video to kind of, be chill, I guess. And I wanted to kind of talk about Arin. If you don't know who Arin is one of the members of the idol group Momoiro Clover, and she is one of my favorite female talents, or really just talents in general in Japan, or really of all time, honestly. And I kind of want to talk about why. So in the past, I've kind of been, I don't want to say all over the place with favorite members of momoclo, but I've always found aspects of every member that I liked to some extent, and because of that I just kind of fell right into the group wholesale, and this was 10 years ago now, which is kind of weird. But in any event, I kept coming back to, eventually, first I really liked Akari, and then I found out she wasn't in the group anymore, and I was like, oh, oops. And then the story goes, I kind of cycled through the 5, but then Kanako and Arin were 2 that I always came back to quite often for completely different reasons. And while I will say that I still really like and respect everything that Kanako does, and some of the things that she does is still kind of relatable. In fact, I feel like I kind of share some similarities with her to a certain extent. I have to admit that Arin, I think, has ultimately won out between the 2. I used to go back and forth between them, and they were always very close to each other. But I think Arin has sort of won it. And the reason why is because, it's difficult to explain, but the thing about Arin is the way that she has sort of evolved over time, from how I've perceived it at least. I can't help but to feel like it kind of mirrors the way I have too, especially in the last 4 years or so. Really, ever since I came to Japan. And she's sort of inspired a lot of things from me, just in my own personal life, kind of. Whenever she would do something, I'd be like, oh, that's really cool. I should try something like that, or that would make me want to do something, to kind of match that. I don't know. And honestly, that's the point of idols anyway, right? And so in a way, she is kind of the quintessential idol for me in that regard. She's just I don't know, she's just perfect, at least in this context, in my own context. And one of the interesting things too for me is that a lot of people, if you were to go back about 9 years, 9 years ago was 2015, 10 years, the thing about Arin was that everybody understood her to be kind of I don't know, thick, so to speak. She, there's that idol group, I don't know if they're still around, chubbiness, but she was considered to be in that kind of weight class, so to speak. And then over the course of the probably since, I don't know, from 2015 through until maybe 2018 or 2019, it became more and more noticeable that she kind of worked on losing weight, basically. And seeing that was just, really kind of inspiring for me, because I was always a chunky kid, and so I always felt like there was someone smaller in me trying to get out of there, trying to get out of that. And so I kind of decided from 2021 to sort of work on that myself too, and kind of looking to Adding as sort of like one of the sources of inspiration for that. And it's crazy how people kind of notice how different I am, and then I look and see how different I've actually gotten. I'm like, dang, I that's just one other thing, and I can kind of trace it back to sort of Adding kind of I guess she's like a quintessential like influencer in a way, because she influenced me. I don't know. Adding is something else. I always liked that, she, just the way she goes about, I don't know, everything. There's something elegant about everything that she does. And I'm going to say more about this later. I have an Adding video in the works that's not this, a scripted one. And the thing is, like, everything she does has like a certain just elegance and it's like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's everything seems to be done with a certain level of taste almost. It's not like she curates things necessarily or like heavily edits things, but like she's just like, it's natural to her. I don't know how else to explain it, but it even comes through in like her set lists and how she puts them together and like for concerts and stuff. It's just like, it makes sense. And it's also kind of artful and thoughtful the way she does things, and the way she presents herself, of course. And there's so much care and attention to detail for the things that she does, and it's not even like in a perfectionist kind of way, but in just like a creative kind of way. And I always kind of liked that about her. She was always kind of more on the creative side. And of course, I'm not knocking, like, let's say Rennie, for, doing the whole, gravure, like, bathing suit, underwear, sort of like showing it, kind of, showing the goods or whatever. Adding could very, very easily do something like that. And there would be nothing wrong with it. But she seems to be so much more invested in being creative and doing those types of things, focusing on things like music especially, and producing her own group, Janamie, that, it would almost be, I feel like it would almost be like, well, I don't want to say she would be selling out necessarily, but it's kind of cool that she doesn't feel the need to do those types of things. That she is more than happy with maybe, it would probably make some good money if she did do that, but, she doesn't really, I guess it doesn't seem like she sees it as necessary that she could live without it. And of course that could change, and I would be in full support of it. I would be on that pre-order list to, support whatever she does. But it's kind of cool to see that she's like it seems at least that she's a real genuine creative, as well as someone who is trying to also get into the more technical and maybe like especially kind of business side of things, in terms of like the music business and everything like that. And honestly, I think that's really cool. I think Adding is cool in that regard. And I mean that like not as just a mindless superlative, but as a real, like, that's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. That's respectable. I like that. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot to look up to with the way she leads her career and the way she just does things. She can still, even to this day, just go up on a stage and make it, her world. She can, her singing ability has come so far. Her the quality of her performances are the most refined that they've ever been, and all the while she still maintains her typical charm, but with a more mature edge. And you really have to respect the way she just does things, how she handles social media, and like it's really funny on Instagram especially. She'll be like silent for months, or not months, but like, you know, for weeks, and then suddenly it's just like 5 new posts with like 6 pictures in them each of different things, and it's like it's wild. It's kind of like a roller coaster in a way, but at the same time it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just kind of cool. I like it. So yeah, I don't know, I'm rambling. This is just like a rambling thing, but there's a lot about Arin to respect, and I've been thinking about it a lot lately, just because I've started working on the next Ayaka Nation video. So yeah, I thought I'd just throw that out there. In any event, I hope you took something away from this. Let me know what you thought about any of this in the comments below, and I'll see you next time with hopefully the scripted video, not the Arin one, but the one that I've been working on, kind of stalled on, but hopefully it will be out soon. But until then,